Today is all about creating digital products. And specifically, we're going to go over the biggest myth that I think holds a lot of us back as entrepreneurs, the difference between business models and revenue streams. And then I'll actually walk you through some simple prompts you can use and a very simple way to actually generate a bunch of ideas that don't come across as AI slop, right? Because the last thing we want to do is create a bunch of offers that everyone can clearly see we just like spent 10 minutes in GPT creating or whatever AI you want to use. So again, thank you so much for all of your patience with that. It was incredibly frustrating, and I am completely out of coffee. So we'll try and I'll try and get through this with no coffee here. So I'm going to jump into my screen and we'll kick things off by going through some very simple digital product ideas that I have actually implemented and sold myself. So you can see that this really is not very complicated. And then we'll go through the different revenue streams you can add to your business. Of course, please let me know where you're tuning in from. And if you want me to come up with some ideas for your niche or industry or specific business, drop that in the chat. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen now, and this should be working properly. Um, Now, I did mess up my setup trying to get this for you. So if it looks like I'm looking way off to the left, it's because I just moved everything on my desk. There we go. So joys of trying to go live here. So as we jump in here, I just wanted to start with this and I mean very simple sales page. This was actually made in Google Slides. You can see we just have a headline, subheadline. We have 4 bullet points, not even 5, and then a little upsell here, and that's it. And this simple page is directly responsible for over 5K in automated income. Um, and I have 2 niche and okay, I'll get to your question, Vadim. Yeah, I'll get to your question, Vadim. And so I just want to show you that when it comes to starting your digital product, journey and selling online, it does not need to be complicated. This page is responsible for thousands of dollars in sales. And just to show you what the actual digital product looked like, it is a simple Google Doc that I added to over time. It started as 5 pages, and it's just a very, very simple walkthrough of how to put together a funnel. No video training came with this. This is all just text in a Google Doc, and people were genuinely happy with this. This was actually the way I got into choosing digital products in the first place as a viable revenue stream, because my business partner at the time was like, "Hey, you should sell this," because I was giving away this for free. I was like, "People aren't going to pay for it," and they did, and people were happy. And it's actually been the kind of building block that I've built on over time, creating a lot of different offers. And so I just want to show you there's nothing super fancy about this. This is email scripts. This is sales copywriting formulas. Obviously, this was pre AI. And so now we need to have prompts or GPTs attached to it, but that's okay. Then the other digital product I want to show you, this is a Google Ads campaign builder. I tried to find the oldest version possible. This sold for $25. There was some video training on how to use it. And this is responsible for over 10K in sales. And so I'm just showing this to you, not to brag like, oh, look how much money you can make with simple documents. I just want to show you that they don't have to be complicated. And at price points of $5 or $10, we're just saving people a couple hours of their time. And so this in particular allowed people who are running Google Ads to quickly create their campaigns, upload them to Google directly, and it saves you a couple hours, especially if you have multiple campaigns. And then the second to last one here I wanted to show you, this is a simple landing page swipe file. This is done. I use this as an order bump and upsell on uh, a lot of my digital products. And what that means, order bump or upsell, that just means when someone's buying another product, I offer this as an add-on. And this is something that has sold between $3 and all the way upwards of $7, right? And it's just me going through different sales pages and not sales pages. It's just me going through different landing pages. So let's say I have this one. So this is, I go through the landing page, I break down the sales copywriting, and then we have a picture of the landing page, and that's it, right? And so we're just going through showing people the ins and outs of the conversion elements happening inside a landing page. Now that in the advent of AI, we're rebranding this. I'm not changing anything. I'm rebranding this saying, hey, take this swipe file, upload it to your AI, and then ask AI to write like these great copywriters. And so I think I'll skip this last one. This is one of the latest digital products we've made, but as you can tell, it's a lot more involved, and you can see how over time I've I like to think I've improved the way I create digital products. And this is a Google Sheet to help you come up with your authentic voice, and then feed it back to AI. So AI sounds like you and not the usual generic slop that it sounds like without being trained. So today we are going to come up with some digital product ideas. We'll help some people in the chat coming up with their niche. Videm, if you have two niche ideas and you're not sure which one to choose, when it comes to that, we'll get to that in a moment. But if you could drop in the two niche ideas that you're thinking of, that would also help me be a little more specific. Let's see: financial anxiety and mental health, and AI, three, relationships and social psychology. Okay, so we're both dealing with social psychology and mental health. All right, give me 5 minutes, and we will be at a perfect place to tackle that. So those are those are very hard ones. Oh my! I was hoping it would be something simple, but no. Okay, you're gonna force me to be awake here. That's all right. So when it comes to creating revenue streams online, the common misconception is you have to choose between one of these that we're looking at here. You have to go the affiliate route or the coaching route or the software or merch route. And the reality is that the new way, or the modern way, is building a brand, specifically a personal brand, because let's face it, we are going to be competing with AI brands in the next, 3 to 5 years. There are already AI influencers. And so when we choose a niche and we choose an audience of people to serve, the primary kind of job of our day to day is connecting with those people, being helpful to those people, building relationships with those people. And then the way you take that relationship further is by offering them products and services that improve their life. That's it. That's literally all we are doing as content creators and solopreneurs. We're building relationships with people in a leveraged mass scale, and then we're providing more value to them and helping them via different vehicles. So when you shift your mindset from, oh, am I going to do affiliate marketing? Am I going to do digital products or courses or consulting or high ticket this or services that? Just strip all of those away, because those are just different vehicles of doing the same thing, which is helping your ideal customer. And so when we focus on helping our audience and how we can help them achieve the results they're looking for, overcome the roadblocks that they're facing, all of a sudden the vehicle doesn't matter. We just let our customer choose the vehicle. And so all that to say, your business will have affiliate marketing, will have digital products, will have courses, will have ebooks, memberships, and coaching, eventually merch, software, events, and other. I'll leave those out for today because those are way harder to set up. And I realized I was so frazzled, I forgot to mention today's sponsor, Go High Level. If you click the link in the description, you can learn more about signing up with High Level and all the bonuses we have available to you. 30-day automated income accelerator, a done for you launch stack that literally has all of the pages and email automations that you would need to use this strategy, and many others for selling digital products and courses and even consulting. So make sure you check that out via the description, link in the description and pinned comment. And thank you to Go High Level for sponsoring this series. Yes, you can tell I'm frazzled. Spending 40 minutes trying to get this to work was not fun. So all that to say, we're going to focus on digital products. And that's because digital products is the one that gives you the most leverage. It might not give you the most income overall, because it's pretty hard to compete with services and coaching in terms of relative income numbers. But eventually, digital products will outpace your coaching and consulting because coaching and consulting, while it gives you a lot of money up front, it obviously takes a lot of time, whereas digital products don't. And so that's why I generally recommend, if we zoom out here, starting with, of course, digital products and consulting. If you really want to start generating income now, then coaching is the way to go. That's going to be your biggest return on time in the short term. In the long term, if you already have a job or you're doing this part time, focus on sponsors and products because those don't take your time as you are, of course, increasing your income, but they just take longer to reach the same income level as coaching. So, what we'll do today, focusing on products, if I jump over here and products, we jump over here. So I just want to pause here really quick. If you don't decide to give the 30-day free trial and all of the prompts and templates via the link in the description and pinned comment, go ahead and take a screenshot of this. This is a prompt that will help you come up with digital product ideas. So we always want to make sure that we're giving you something to use. So just screenshot this, upload it to your AI, and you're going to be able to do the majority of what we're about to do with our GPT. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, screenshot that prompt. AI can read it. There's a bunch of small text there. And we'll go ahead and get started creating our digital product. And so I'll come over here to our template and scroll down. For time purposes, I'm ignoring a lot of what's in here. But when it comes to figuring out your digital product ideas, obviously, if you've seen something, another niche, if you've seen something that you want to create, like another creator in your niches has already created, go ahead and write that down. Save the URL of their sales page. This will help you with the process. But for now, I'm going to jump over to GPT and I'm going to use our Rev Alpha Canvas GPT to help brainstorm revenue streams. So I'll just go ahead and click on that to kind of demonstrate what it can do for you. But let's go ahead and take a quick moment to answer Vadim's question of how to choose a niche when you're not quite sure. And so let me jump up here. Our niche is going to be passionate creators. And then when it comes to generating ideas, and this is going to help you, Vadim, with your niche question. The number one question is, who do you want to help? And we went through this in live stream number 1, but we'll condense it here. Is who do you want to help? So if you imagine your job is to sit at a desk for 8 hours a day and all you get to do is talk to one type of person answering a specific type of questions, who would you want to talk to? So in your particular instance, Vadim is asking, uh, number 1 is financial anxiety and mental health, and then compared to digital health, and number 3, relationships and social psychology. So if you were chained to a chair and you had people calling in and they were either going to ask you about financial anxiety all day, mental health all day, digital health all day, or relationship and social psychology questions all day, which one would you enjoy the most? You're chained to a desk and you have to answer those questions all day long, like a customer support rep. And the reason I position that niche question that way, and Vadim, it's totally okay if you drop in the chat, hey, Jason, that doesn't help at all. Please try again. But when you start thinking about who you're going to be talking to on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, because at the end of the day, everything that we do is serving an actual person. And so if you approach it like a customer service rep, because that's what we are, we're servants for our customers, and we start thinking about who we are serving, then all of a sudden it starts to become a little easier because it strips away all of this other business jargon or strategies, revenue models, and platforms. It's just at the end, who do you want to talk to? Who are you willing to talk to for 8 hours a day? That's not going to drive you nuts. That's not going to burn you out, right? Now, obviously, every niche you're going to have conversations. You're going to make content. You're even going to make products that you absolutely abhor. I won't say what mine are, but I have to do it quite a lot. I don't enjoy it, but I am in the make money online niche and marketing niche now. So I kind of don't have a choice in those conversations. But when you focus on what types of conversations you're going to be having, all of a sudden it becomes a lot easier to choose a niche. So Vadim's gone and said, I think the first one, which is financial anxiety, and I think that's a great place to start. Honestly, I think looking at the kind of questions he has, it's all around. I mean, all falls under the umbrella of mental health. So technically, it's the same industry. You're just choosing where to really niche down, and eventually, you're going to actually be able to figure out which one people like hearing from you the most. So that's another way to go, where you can like spend 2 or 3 months doing financial anxiety content, and inside of those 2 months, like let's say you have 5 posts a week. Well, or let's say be reasonable, 3 posts a week, right? So 2 posts a week are on financial anxiety, and then 1 post a week you do mental health. Then 1 post, then the next week, 2 financial anxiety, one, excuse me, digital mental health. And you can actually blend those together, right? So financial anxiety, you can have a post, you can dedicate a post to financial anxiety, and then anxiety comes from social media flexing all the time, right? Because we all know you go on Instagram, it looks like everyone is super fit and super rich, and you're like, yeah, no, they just rented that stuff, right? So I think there's also combinations of it, but choosing one, I think financial anxiety as kind of your cornerstone makes a whole lot of sense, because when you look at it from being financially anxious, that's going to affect the other three. And that anxiety of finances might also be driven by digital media, because there's a huge comparison bias of what people see. And if you can detach that, the comparison bias that you get from looking at all that social content, people might be a little less anxious about their financial situation, because they'll realize, oh, I'm actually okay. So if you have any more questions, Vadim, or you want me to go a little deeper on that, I can. Let's go ahead and jump into creating some content ideas. So, when it comes to brainstorming revenue streams, I gave you the screenshot earlier. All you need to do with that screenshot is say who we want to help, what is the result that they want, the big result that they want, and then what is getting in their way. What do they think is getting in their way? So, passionate creator, they want to sell digital products on autopilot. I think we all want to do that. That's why we're here. And then lack of a clear funnel strategy is what's kind of getting in the way. Where the heck do we start, right? There's so many different ways to go about this. So this is going to be my ideal customer and the products that I want to come up with for them. And so we'll scroll down here, and the prompt that you could screenshot and also available inside the training will actually come through and give us lots of different ideas. But we're actually going to start at the enrolling offers, because when you're first getting started, you want to create something that's in the really the $2 to $5 range. We bumped it up to 19 because I know a lot of creators and entrepreneurs like making bigger products, but we'll go ahead and start with the $2 to $5 range here. And so we have a mini funnel templates pack, a funnel strategy cheat sheet, and a email sequence swipe files. And then you can see here when we get up to $25, we could start having a workshop or a funnel audit. A funnel audit and fix workshop, or automation essentials. Sometimes AI is going to give you stuff, and you're just looking at it and go, I don't think I don't think that's a product. But you can always highlight it and say, please expand, please explain this. I don't understand. How is this a product, or what problem is this solving? And then AI will actually explain itself. Um, and sometimes it will realize. And sometimes it will actually realize that that the idea it came up with is bad. So I just got a question from Angelica here. Are you showing something? I don't see anything. Oh no. Wait, are you guys just seeing me and not seeing the screen? Because that's bad. I've been sharing the screen for the past couple minutes or like past 5 minutes here. So let me go ahead and oh my gosh. Okay. So I've stopped sharing. Uh, Interesting. So, okay, I've gone ahead and stopped sharing the screen and I'm going to try sharing again here. And I'm going to share an entire screen. I'm going to share again. Okay, please let me know. It seems like Vadim can see the screen, but Angelica cannot. Uh, it's showing, okay, so my preview is showing that the screen is there. So I've gone ahead and reset it. Please try refreshing yours, Angelica, on your end, Angelica, and hopefully you can see it. Because I do want to make sure everyone's seeing and getting some value here. Okay. Totally lost my train of thought, but that's okay. Okay. This has been the messiest stream by far. You'd think day 3 was okay, but not. I'm gonna have to edit this a lot. That's all right. Story of a YouTuber. Okay. So on my end, it's showing that the screen is there. It's showing that I'm in the corner. So at least I think that means the replay is going to be okay. But Angelica, if you could let me know if if it's still not showing up for you properly, I can try something else and try sharing a window instead of the whole thing. But we'll go ahead and continue. So once you, and then the $100 to $200 range would be setting up. Oops, let me move the screen there. There we go. And then the $100 to $200 range would be an actual course. So this is going to be, that's going to be, 3 to 7 hours of content that you're recording. You're making a lot of worksheets and, templates for people. And definitely do not start here. This is at the absolute worst place to start. One of the biggest mistakes I made in even starting this channel, you can go back and see like one of the very first videos I posted was about this like master plan. And I tried to launch this like 997 products because, I bought into that fake guru stuff. And of course, nobody bought. The Facebook ads I made were terrible. I had to look at the screen while I was, reading my script, and I just got roasted in the comments on those ads. And it was a good, $5,000 wasted in 9 months of my life. So to save you from that, I recommend starting here because you never know what people actually want. So like at the beginning of this stream, I showed, this digital product. This was a free lead magnet. I didn't think people cared. I didn't think people would buy it. And credit to my business partner at the time. He's like, dude, we could sell this. And I was like, I don't think anyone wants to buy a basic Google sheet that walks them through stuff I just did on screen on YouTube. Like they can see everything on YouTube. So why would they buy this? And he's like, no, people will buy it. And so we sold it for $5. This is the very basic sales page. And because this offer worked so well, I wound up going and creating a workshop and then a bundle based upon that. So that one-page document that started at $5 is now a $40 product. Obviously, I added quite a bit to it, but that $40 product sells, and I'm confident in creating that because I started here with just a very simple and rolling offer. So I'm going to ask GPT now to please expand on these ideas and give me 20 more templates. I'm not going to. Okay, give me 20 more. Okay, here we go. And so when it comes to figuring out what types of digital ideas or offers, like this is really as simple as it gets. Again, we shared the prompt for this. So this is the prompt. You can screenshot it. So all you need to do, screenshot this prompt and then give AI the basics of your niche, which is who you serve, what are they trying to achieve, what's getting in their way. That's as simple as we need to be here. Like we don't need to be more complex. The market will do the research for us. And so now it's gone through and given us some more ideas on things that we could sell. Now, when you're first getting started with digital products, remember this is just going to be one of many revenue streams. So the key here, not showing now. Are you kidding? Oh no. Okay. Oh boy. Okay. Let's go ahead and we're going to stop sharing. We've got 6 or 7 people in here. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to risk, at the risk of messing something up. I don't know which one it is. So let's try this one. Window. Just do the whole screen, share. Okay. So here we go. If y'all could let me know if you can see the screen now. I've gone ahead and reset it. Okay. All right. So, yikes. All right. So I'm going to re-talk a little bit here, but I'll just go faster because I'm not sure where. Okay, BC English. Thank you for letting me know that it is live. Go ahead and for those of you just joining, drop it if you want. I can go through some actual examples of products for everyone. So just go ahead and drop in the chat what your niche is, and we can workshop it together real quick. So I'm not quite sure where I got cut off. So if you're watching the replay or you're here live, I apologize for the 90-second 90-second redo. Here, here we go. So when it comes to all of these different types of offers, you're just going to want to start at the enrolling offer level. And that's going to allow you to figure out what people in your niche or audience care about. And then you can start making bigger products. So as an example, again, I started off with this $5 offer. It wound up selling well. And eventually we turned this into a $40 bundle. And that's one of our best selling products now. But I never would have thought to make that bundle if I didn't have this $5 offer that was actually selling. So all I did was I took this Google Doc that was selling. How many pages is it? It's 40, 40, it says 40 pages, but you see there's a lot of blank space, right? And so, okay, teaching English. Okay, awesome. 2 different niches. Perfect. So I've got 3 niches to go through. So you can see here, it's 40 pages, but there's a lot of blank space. And so all I did was add to this. I added some video training. Obviously, I added some prompts, and now we're creating GPTs for each step of the funnel building process. And so we take this $5 offer and then we turn it into a $40 offer. And I'm actually in the process now of turning it into a $150 offer. And of course, each step along the way, I still have this $5 template. I still have the $40 bundle, and you're just adding products over time. So I'm sorry for clicking around. And so with using this prompt, it will give you a bunch of different ideas. And so all we need to do is highlight the enrolling offers because that's where we want to start. And then just ask it to please expand and give me 20 more. So I'm going to quickly wrap up my example here since we have some actual live questions. So for the purposes of this live stream and going through actually building, you can see here expanded ideas. It's given me a template pack, funnel strategy cheat sheet, email sequence, swipe files, KPI tracker. I'll tell you that one failed. I spent so much time on that, and this product did not sell. And so obviously GPT doesn't know that, but I could go ahead and say, hey, this product sucks. Nobody bought it. And I spent so many weeks building it. It's still one of the I still think it's one of the best products I ever made, and nobody cares. So there you go. Let's see, funnel opt-in, page swipe file, lead magnet workbook, mini email marketing calendar, and social media promo templates. So what I would do for purposes of this kind of like 30-day challenge and walkthrough, I would choose 3 of these. And I think for time purposes, I will do that off stream, mostly because I'm so frazzled by all the tech issues, and I want to get to the live questions we have here. So we'll go ahead and do those live examples. But on day 4, which will be tomorrow, I'll go ahead and share, which ones I choose. But I would be choosing based upon what I think I can make in less than 2 hours. Okay, maybe less than four, probably going to stretch it. But honestly, you don't need to spend more. If you're spending more than 5 hours on creating one of these, you're spending too much time. And so the way I always like to tell coaching students is if you spend like 3 hours creating a template, it's like 5 pages, and you're like, I don't feel right charging $10 for this. Cool, charge $3. Whatever you make, I guarantee is worth at least $3. And so if you ever feel like, you feel funny about selling something because of how much effort you put in, or you think it's too basic, or you don't think the value is there, just sell it for $3 and see what happens, right? You can always raise the price. You can always add to the product to make you feel comfortable and ethical later on, and then raise the price from there. That's, I think, pretty much every content creator I've worked with one on one, that conversation has come up, which is just, I don't feel right, charging $10 for this. Well, then just charge $3 and add to the product until you feel like you've put enough value in there to charge $10. And really, I have yet to see a $3 product that was not worth uh, $3. So here's what we're going to do. We are going to jump into some more examples here. So I'm going to open up a new GBT. Again, you can use the prompt that I showed. I think it's just getting confused. So I'll jump in a fresh chat here. So we're going to do so BC English. We're going to do Vadim's first, and then we will do yours. And so when it comes to, I'm just going to click brainstorm ideas. So let me jump in here. So we're going to do financial anxiety. So I'll go ahead. Can I just copy this? I always feel so old when I do this, but here we go. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and copy the chat, and I'm going to say my niche. So my niche is financial anxiety. Other topics I care about. All right. So my niche is financial anxiety. So obviously the big result, peace of mind over finance, even if something like that, right? Spelling mistakes aside, now we have an author in here, so I'm gonna get roasted for. I'm just kidding, but I use a lot of spell check, right? So here we go. This is our niche is financial anxiety. I just came up with a result. They want peace of mind over their finance, even if not all their problems are solved. Because if we're talking about the mental issue, if you wait till all the finance problems are solved, well, you solve the problem. Finance problem's not the way to deal with that stress, right? And then roadblock, probably no solid plan, deer in the headlights, up all night, right? I'm being a little hyperbolic there. We could probably workshop that a bit more. But here we go. So a mini guide, 5 steps to calm financial anxiety tonight. This is something that, especially in the relationship niche, when relationship or mental health niche, if you can call out specific experiences that someone has. And so obviously people probably aren't, if calm down, Jason. Probably someone who has financial anxiety can relate to staying up at night. I know I can, still do. And just laying there like, how am I gonna make those minimums? How am I going to, pay that bill next month? How am I going to afford, the car that just broke down, right? Or maybe the car's in the shop, right? And you're like, please, please, please don't be the brakes. Please don't be the brakes again. Whatever it is, right? And you're like, don't worry, it's not the brakes, it's the drivetrain. You're like, oh, great, twice as much. So I think this would be a pretty solid product idea. Digital journal template, mindfulness tracker for financial success. Uh, I'm not a huge fan of the journaling stuff, unless someone specifically wants to journal. I would repackage this as some sort of 7-day mindful 7-day tranquility template or something. But I wouldn't journal is the work they have to do. And so, unless it's a journaling product, I'm probably not going to include journal in my sales copy because number one, that's just saying you're going to have to work a bunch, and number two, most people don't actually like journaling. It's not fun. At least I don't think so. Maybe I'm a terrible judge on that, right? So affiliate offers promotes trusted apps on budgeting, meditation therapy. Yeah, so you could probably find some meditation apps that would help with that. But in terms of content, I mean, really low hanging fruit is creating a meditation, 6 hour financial stress relief meditation or something like that. I'm sure if we went over to YouTube, we would find lots of videos like 6 hours long with some like the subliminal messaging in there. But we'll go ahead and expand on these because we only have one solid idea out of that. And so the workshop, you could create a workshop or a course, blueprint, managing anxiety and money together, one-on-one coaching. And let's go ahead and ask to expand because you gave me a tough one, Vadim. This is, please expand one more down to earth. Oops. Practical. All right, here we go. So sometimes you got to guide GPT and say, "Hey, I think you're getting a little off." So here we go. We got. So again, this is for practical advice for mental financial anxiety. So we have a mini guide, daily mindfulness, financial mood tracker. I like trackers. I like trackers for or planners for lead magnets. Trackers are a real hit and miss because they take so long for someone to actually enjoy the benefits of it. So money stress reset, audio meditation and visualization. Hey, GPT and I agreed on that. So yeah, there's one right there. Although this is probably going to be content, make content first. Practical mental toolkit for anxiety swipe file. I think this is a silly idea. I don't know how it goes through that. And affiliate combo, that's also not a good idea. Well, I'm glad GPT did this because the only one I think is a good idea is the mini guide, which is just an expansion of something it came up with before, and then the money stress reset. But obviously, I'm not a psychologist. I'm not in mental health, so I am pretty limited on how much I can be helpful in terms of what actually moves the needle with the anxiety. But coming up with a $3 to $5 offer, essentially targeting one specific aspect of someone's financial anxiety, I think is a good way to go. And the other thing too with this niche, and then we'll get to BC English, is you want to balance addressing the mental health aspect of it, like the underlying anxiety, versus the actual problem causing the anxiety, which is fixing whatever the financial situation is. And so there's kind of that fine line. So you just want to make sure, Vadim, as you're going through this, and of course other niches too, you might be solving a symptom and not the underlying problem, because the underlying problem is there's a financial issue, right? The financial issue went away, like they win the lottery tomorrow. Whatever anxiety is here is gone and replaced with another anxiety. What are we going to do? How are we going to pay taxes? All that fun stuff. How do we deal with all our friends and family asking for money now? You see how my mind just goes like, woo, like all these scenarios. But sometimes it's okay to just solve the symptom and not the problem. That's all I'm getting at here. So make sure you focus on the symptom, which is the anxiety, not the underlying problem, which is the budgeting, the awkward conversation with the credit card company trying to lower your bill or get in a special program or whatever that might be. All right, so I think I've done enough on that. So I'm going to jump over to BC English's question here, and we're going to come up with another offer. And then I'm running late today, but we will choose an offer and have it outline it so you can actually see what that might be like. And so let's go ahead and jump over. Now you might be hearing a dog because I'm supposed to be done recording by now. So let's see. You're teaching English and Pep prep Preptides? Pre Wow, I feel so silly. I'm not quite sure. Pre I do need new contacts, but preptides. Okay. I'll just go ahead and have GPT explain that to me. I'm not quite sure what that is. Uh, yeah, if you could explain that niche a little more, I think I could be helpful. I'm definitely not reading it right. And you write books and publish books on those two topics. Awesome. So you already have books on them, which means you probably just want to make some worksheets. That would probably be the fastest way to um, to create a digital offer. 'Cause everybody loves templates. Okay, so teaching English and peptide. Well, I'm sure you've thought of I'm sure you've thought of flashcards as well. Okay, I have two niches, no ideal customers this time. Wrote that backwards, but that's okay. All right, here we go. Pep. Oh, you literally. Okay. Like, okay. I was thinking, I was like, it can't be pep. Okay. You literally mean peptides, like the supplement. Okay. Like the supplements. Okay. There we go. That makes so much more sense. I was thinking somehow I was trying to relate it to teaching or English, and I was like, I'm not quite sure. Okay. So here we go. When it comes to a simple digital product for the peptides niche, especially if you already have some books created, a complete handbook on peptides. Awesome. Well, obviously, I mean that you already have your digital product, and so I think if you already have like an existing ebook, or you already have an existing pre-existing product that's bigger, the first thing to do would be figure out how do we chop it up into little pieces. Now, obviously, you have things like you probably have an intro chapter and a conclusion and some things that combine multiple. But like, let's say chapter 3 is all about like marine peptides versus collagen peptides or something. You're going to see how limited my knowledge is here on them, but just bear with me. So when you have that larger ebook, you're going to want to start to look at how do you chop up specific questions. And so something that you can do is you can upload your entire book to GPT and simply say, "Hey, pull out all of the individual questions someone would have along the way, and then organize them by customer journey." It'll understand that, and then ask it to create weight loss, health, sleep, longevity chapters. Okay, yeah, perfect. And then ask it to come up with some $5 digital product workbooks or template ideas for each one of those questions. And so you have weight loss, health, sleep, longevity, etc. Okay, yeah, perfect. So there are your different guides. So one of the harder things with peptides, especially because we're talking about a physical product, is we have to figure out how do we add value to the use. So there's kind of three stages, right? There's someone's trying to figure out what peptide to take. Someone is trying to, and then someone is actively taking the peptide, and then someone is taking the peptide. It's not working, and so maybe there's three steps in that customer journey. So when it comes to an actual digital product, so the first step of I realize I'm backwards. So the first am I backward anyway? So the first step of which one do I take? It's probably going to be pretty hard to create a paid offer around that, just because there's so much free content on which one to take. That's probably going to be much better in terms of your doing some affiliate marketing. But when it comes to the optimization of taking it, like having some sort of program or protocol to take that peptide to the next level, whatever that may be, I think that would be a really good opportunity, because then you're creating content. You'd create content around which one to choose and how they work. I think that kind of content, the free in terms of the health and fitness niche, I think that free line has been moved. So the pre-buying, I think all that pre-buying information, I think is something that's going to be really hard to compete with if you want to create a paid offer in that particular niche. Um, Based upon the content that I consume and have seen there. But when it comes to in that content, of course, you can promote whatever. Uh, yeah, awesome. Okay, awesome. So, but when it comes to creating content, all of the pre-buying all of the pre-buying questions before someone actually purchases the bottle, definitely that's all your content, right? This versus that. This one's better for this. This one's better for that. Like all that stuff. That's awesome content. You can make that for the next decade, right? Uh, then in that content, I would promote. You can promote whatever affiliate bottle or offer that you think is the best, right? And then when it comes time to actually creating your own products, I do think that the creating different protocols, you could start at like $3 per protocol. I think is the way to go, and it looks like you're in agreement there. So I do apologize if I just said everything that you already know, but that would be my kind of quick assessment. Just because again, some niches, the free line has been moved so far that you don't want to try and make an offer that someone can like find for free. But definitely when it comes to the intricacies of the protocol or creating a free cheat sheet on why something not might not be working, you're probably going to get a much higher response rate than trying to create a product that is just like no one's going to pay no one's going to pay 99 cents to know what the best peptide is. They're just going to go to YouTube or TikTok to figure that out. So awesome, awesome in terms of great content. But when it comes to a paid product, definitely I would think the protocol stacking. Yes, it's a smaller audience, but it's an audience of people that are actually going to care. And then also from a sales perspective, you have a great value proposition. Good peptides are not cheap. I mean, I know like looking at collagen peptides. I'm actually here in the Philippines. 99% of what's available on their version of Amazon, which is called Lazada, is just like fake garbage from unknown sources. And so when you get into like real peptides, those are expensive. So of course you have the value proposition to say, hey, you already spent $50 on these collagen peptides or these or whatever peptides from Garden of Life or Vital Supplements or whatever whatever brand you're promoting. So just for $3 more, here's everything more you could get out of all of that investment you've already made. So I always like digital products where you can speak to someone who's already has skin in the game. And so if you're speaking to people who have already spent 60 to at least $100, right? It's a great value proposition, like $3 or $5 to optimize what you already have or how to get the most out of it too. And so yeah, let's so BC English, love it, thank you. Don't think of breaking Didn't think of breaking it down. I just published the books. Yeah. And then yeah, US supplements are very expensive. And I will say there's some content opportunity in there because most people really don't understand all of the junk that's in supplements. So you have content for months, just literally picking up a bottle and being like, "Hey, look, the second ingredient is this, and it actually does, XYZ." I think there's a keto protein guy, I think Paul Saladino or something like that on YouTube, and he's seems to be doing pretty well with shorts where he just like walks into Whole Foods. He's like, "Hey, check this out. This does this. Did you know that?" Or like, "This is supposed to be healthy, but it does this." I actually had worked with a a brand that made some sort of cream for men, and I remember I was in Panama at the time, and I just pulled out a random bottle from my bathroom, and I just did a little circle and pointed and said, "The second ingredient is water. You're paying you're paying $20 for face cream, and the second ingredient is a fancy way of saying water." So I think that's some great opportunities for content. Obviously, I'm supposed to be telling you about digital products, but I think the protocols are the way to go. So if anyone else is in the chat and wants specific questions answered, please go ahead and let me know your niche, and we can do that. But Thank you, BC English, for that fun little rant there. So hopefully that's helpful. I think you have plenty of content there, and of course the protocols, and especially content calling out like what is in those peptides and what actually matters and what's to look for. I think is a really big deal, especially because I can tell you here, I'll pay the extra for the U.S. brand because they have all those seals and we know where the peptides came from. Um, I'll get off that. So the next niche idea we have is a teaching niche. Um, I think teaching English niche, right? So some enrolling offers, of course. All right, awesome, awesome. I could be helpful there. So some enrolling offer ideas, of course. Grammar makes no sense. There's the meme like Arkansas or Arkansas. Why not Arkansas? You know, like it just makes no sense. Um, but I think common English idioms for beginners. I can tell you, traveling. Being blessed to travel, that is something that a lot of people with English as a second language do not understand. I know that from personal experience traveling around Southeast Asia, and my wife always gives me a hard time because I speak in colloquialisms a lot and idioms a lot. So when we're ordering a Starbucks in Vietnam, I will say something. I can't embarrass myself off the top of my head, but I will say though that I will say something, and the barista who's speaking English, like they went out of their way to learn English. I'm the one in Vietnam who can't speak Vietnamese, right? But and they're just looking at me like, what the frick did this guy just say? Is that even English? And then my wife will say it in plain English, and then they understand. So now my wife just orders here. But I think that's a huge opportunity because there's such a big difference between, learning English book wise and then learning English, for lack of a better term, streetwise, like actual conversational English. I know for me personally, learning Spanish, I have the US high school version of Spanish was in Panama. That was useless. Nobody talks like that. Nobody talks like that. So I think that's a awesome opportunity there, especially that um, conversation angle. So I'm reading the chat here. ESL and business English are my specialty. Idioms are the problem. Business English is your specialty. Okay, yeah. I would say the business English, colloquialisms, and corporate speak, I think would be an awesome angle as well. I think the other, this isn't necessarily directly related to. By the way, I'm just leaving the. You can read the ideas on screen here. So I'll just scroll down real quick. I think I have a bad habit of not completing my sentences. It's something I've got feedback from my team, so I'll just leave it here. Uh, and another great idea that's not directly related to speaking English, in addition to the colloquialisms and the idioms, is I'm not sure there's a term for this, but we Americans say stuff that we don't mean all the time. Like "see you later," or "oh yeah, we'll circle back on that," um, or we'll say, "Oh, let me think about it." And there's a lot of those, especially in the in a business context, that's code for "I think your idea is dumb. I don't want to do it. No, thank you." Right. And so, in terms of if you have a specific culture that you're going after with this with the idioms or colloquialisms, what you could actually do if you know which kind of cultures you're helping is you can actually start looking into the deeper cultural differences of how they communicate, because I can tell you some cultures are very direct, some cultures beat around the bush. And so, where one culture would find us Americans very rude for being direct, another culture would be confused by it. Published a book on swear words and slang, but not idioms. Okay, awesome. Yeah, I think idioms are the way to go. And especially if you niche down into a business context. Obviously, that's still a very broad niche. But if you like, let's say there are so many different countries that you could create the idioms and colloquialisms for. and then also start figuring. And you can, of course, work with GPT and say, and just ask GPT what are the biggest communication or cultural differences between business speak in the U.S. versus Japan versus even Australia and the UK. They communicate differently, right? But versus Japan versus South Korea versus Philippines or Thailand or China or whatever other country that you're working with. And so you can start by just making a broad idioms one, I think, and then you can start adding on different regions, right? So it might be a bit much to try and make a digital product for every single country that you're thinking of, but if you say like I know people from these regions will not like this, but they'll still buy it because it will be helpful. So if you do like Eastern European English versus American English, or you do Southeast Asia or Asia, versus Asia culture versus English culture, business, whatever. um Obviously, it would sell a lot better if you do the specific countries, because I mean, if you're from the Philippines, you're not like I don't identify as a Southeast Asian. I'm a Filipino, right? Well, I'm not. I'm just saying in terms of the example. But it would be a lot of work to create a guide for each one of those countries. So if you do it by region, that might be a good place to start if you want to start niching down. But definitely, the idioms and slang would be a great place to start. Of course, you also have virtual flashcards. You can go ahead and use. I would probably go ahead and use something like Canva. You can very quickly put that together. And if I'm going through these other ones, English, and then yeah, pronunciation is, I think, a huge one in both situations. I can tell you that my pronunciation as well is very hard for people with some people with English as a second language to understand. And again, I understand that I'm the one visiting the country, so I need to do my best. But this is YouTube, so I'm gonna stop before I say something that they're not gonna be happy with. But I will say that pronunciation is a definitely a big thing as well. So BC English, please let me know if that kind of helps with some ideas. I think we have some great things for you to start with both of your niches. And then if anyone else is watching and wants to go through, their niche, go ahead and let me know. I'm going to jump back over to my chat here. And I think I'm going to wrap up pretty soon. So if you have any questions and you're on the live, please go ahead and let me know. Also, my laptop battery is about to die because I have an M1 Mac and I can't charge while I do these streams. Go figure. Thanks a lot, Tim Cook. So BC English, very, very helpful. Thank you. Okay, awesome. I am so happy to hear that. Like genuinely happy. Thank you. This will have a replay. Angelica, the replay will be up right after. And then in the next 24 hours, YouTube will allow me to edit this so I can go ahead and cut out. I think we have 20 minutes of dead space in the beginning. And then I'll cut out some of the other, might cut out. I'm actually probably going to leave in the blunder in the middle, but I'll definitely cut out all of the issues in the beginning. So Angelica, if you want to share your niche, we can go through it real quick. Even if you're not quite sure what your niche is yet. But yes, there will be a replay. Apologize, I'm clicking through this. You can see here, as GPT, like, what the frick is going on with YouTube? Please fix this. Actually aspiring funnel designer. Oh, okay. Well, that is perfect because that's exactly what we're going to do here. So in terms of my example, I am, of course, helping sell digital products, lack of clear funnel strategy, and for content creators. And so these are going to be my enrolling offer ideas. And so, Angelica, you can literally just take some of these. If you missed it earlier, do not make any sort of funnel KPI thing. That's not going to sell. I wasted so much time on that. And swipe files are not selling as well either, because so many people think they can just go to GPT and get the answer. But what does work is if you take the swipe file and you position it as a GPT knowledge base, or you just create a GPT with the swipe file and say, hey, this GPT will write your landing page for you. We trained it based upon the best, landing pages and swipe files around. And of course, you could niche down for a specific audience if you want. And I'm not sure if you could drop in the comments, Angelica, what funnel builder you're using. Obviously, I recommend Go High Level. I have the affiliate link in the description. They're sponsoring this whole live stream series. So obviously, I'm biased. I'll say that, but Systemi. Okay, perfect. So there's there's the one that I use for a lot of my old funnels as well. And so, aspiring funnel designer. Let's see here. So the first thing, especially if you want to get people signing up with Systemi with you, and this works for just about any funnel software, is offering some templates. So as an example, I have, I did this with Systemi as well, and it worked pretty well. But if you go ahead and design some kind of generic fill in the blank templates and sell those for like $3 to $5, Systemi automatically, we are sponsored by Go High Level, but I don't think they're going to be pissed off by me answering your question. They're a great company to work with. So is Systemi. And if someone clicks that link to copy your funnel, just create a generic funnel. Don't do more than 3 steps because a lot of people just stay on the free plan forever. They don't actually upgrade. And because they, for whatever reason, they decide another software, they just don't continue for some reason, and life gets busy. But the creating like a landing page, upsell page, or order bump or checkout page, and then a sales page, and just creating a very basic version of that and offering that for $5 to $10 can be really helpful. And if someone clicks that link, you're automatically cookied as an affiliate, which is also pretty cool. And something that I like personally about Go High Level is they allow me to not only share the funnel pages, but they also allow me to create automations for you guys. They allow me to create membership sites for you guys. Systemi has a version of that as well, I believe. And so the other thing too, though, is Go High Level. Actually, if you're building your own funnels and you're building funnels for people, on their $300 price plan, you can actually just create an account for them. So you can actually start having like your own marketing agency and you have complete control over that. And then you can charge your customers, 50 or $100 a month, and they essentially get a, a fully fledged version of High Level, but they have you on the back end as support. It's a great way to grow an agency as a funnel designer or whatever it is that you're working on. And then also, they have the ability to lock down the templates. So something that I didn't like in the past is people would get my templates and then they would just turn around and sell them. And I'm like, I'm trying to help you, but that's not cool. So something else, High Level has some protections in place when you create what they call snapshots. But in terms of the current software that you're using, Angelica, go ahead and I would say start by creating some funnel templates. And then the second one would be GPTs. So funnel templates, GPTs, and then product image templates in Canva. So you can see here, I have some very basic product images. And actually, if I jump over here to my demo, no, it's not. I don't have it up. I apologize. I do not have it up. But also creating a set of image generation prompts and then turning that into a GPT is another great thing because helping people understand what their product images should look like is another big sticking point when it comes to actually building funnels. And so I'll just jump back over to GPT here. Let me know if that was helpful, Angelica, or you're like, none of those ideas sound good. Please try again. I'll always happy to try again. But for my particular instance, in terms of choosing a funnel here, very helpful. Okay, awesome. And keep the questions coming. Of course, you always have the replay. Drop comments in the chats after. I am looking at those. I do not get as many comments as you'd think. So I do have time to respond to most of them. But here for our creation purposes, I would I would create a sales funnel template for digital products. I do feel like this is cheating because I have a product that's half done for this. So I will have to find a product here that I have not built at all. So I can show you how to build it from scratch live. Let's say mini email marketing calendar. Let's say I want to do that one. So all you need to do is, okay, we are about to run out of time here. So let me just do this. So for this mini social media calendar, please create the product for me as a worksheet for Google Docs. Follow the Act OS way of creating templates. And so if you decide to join and get access to the GPT, you can say use the Act OS way of creating templates. But if not, just say create a fill in the blank worksheet. And then GPT can actually start creating this for you. And so if we look down, you'll see it will essentially outline the entire product. And then it's just up to you to put it in a Google Doc or Google spreadsheet. You can see here that I put all of our offers in Google Files. And then all you have to do when you want to share it is just come up here to click on share. Oops. And you set it to share with anyone with a link. I know that freaks people out. You're like, oh, well, how do you stop people from sharing your content or sharing it around? You don't. That's one of the downsides of digital products. But you can see here, I have quite a few, and like each folder inside it, I just have the link to the actual product. And when I share it, I just go ahead and click on share, copy link, and I set it to anyone with a link can make a copy. I don't give direct access to those. I do not give people direct access to those. So what we'll do is I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing the screen really quick because we're about to die. So I'm going to go ahead and end the screen sharing. So please go ahead and drop in the comments if you have any last minute questions here while I awkwardly plug in my laptop. Oh boy. And dropping the extra screen. Oh my gosh. Apologies for that. And why the first M1s only have two outlets, I do not know. And one of them doesn't work. So one of them does not work. Here we go. Okay, cool. So hopefully this can last a couple minutes before the stream ends. But I just want to say thank you to everyone who joined. Getting your questions and having your interactions and being able to help you and create something live is something I genuinely enjoy. This is so much fun, so very much fun, minus the setup headaches. So I'll just pray and cross my fingers that tomorrow it does not take 20 minutes for us to get this going. So I want to thank all of you. Can we direct them to our website instead of Google? Oh, okay, good question. So thank you all so much for joining. Can you direct them to your website instead of Google? So the answer is yes. So what you'll do, can I share I'll share my screen one more time. Now that I'm plugged in, I should be safe. But I have to share my entire screen here. So what you'll do is you will direct them to a page on your site selling. So like, for example, this is a very simple sales letter. And this is how I sell the actual product. So you can see here, this is what our sales pages look like now, but this is where I started, right? So you would direct them to a page on your site like this. Tomorrow, we're going to go over writing this. I have a full template for you, full set of prompts, GPT, so you can create this relatively quickly. And so you direct them to this page. And then once they purchase, you'll give them access to your membership site. I think this is right. So you give them access to your membership site. And like, let's say they purchase the Rev Alpha Canvas, which is something that we're using, right? And then in the membership site, I go ahead and link to the Google Doc, right? So if I click this link, it will open up access to the the Google Doc, and that's how they get access to it. If you don't want to set up a membership site, you can just email them directly the link. I like setting up a membership site because I want people to, get engrossed in the ecosystem we've built. I want people to actually log in and see the offers we have. And then what's cool is you can actually set it up so that people can see the things they haven't purchased as well. And so you can see here, this is almost all of our offers. We're still moving over to high level, but you can see here, anytime someone makes a purchase, they now get access to our back end here. And so that's how we go about sharing the link. So we would always send people to our page. So if we TB 13.2. Here we go. So inside of high level, we'll actually go through tomorrow creating this sales letter. We'll actually spend 2 days on it, creating the sales letter. So we'll create multiple ones. But as soon as they enter their name and email here, you can either direct them, you can either have it set up so they go to a membership site, or you can have high level just send them the file directly. Also, if you don't want to be using Google Docs. So I'm going to stop sharing. And so hopefully that answers your question. Please let me know, BC English, if that does. And is it necessary for a beginner to have their own Go High Level account? So I'm not sure. Have your own. I'm going to say yes. If you are, thank you, BC English. I'm looking forward to it too. Staying up very late, getting all this ready on time. But to answer your question, Angelica, is it necessary for a beginner to have their own Go High Level account? I would say yes. So you can just start on the $97 a month price plan. And we're actually working on a review and price comparison to some of the other solutions out there. Again, the one you're using, Systemi, is great. Like if I had to rank all of these solutions out there, it would be Go High Level, and then Systemi is like right on its heels. But stay tuned for a video on why we ultimately made the switch. But don't get me wrong, like you'll be able to start and grow with Systemi. I still think it's a fantastic company. They do amazing things. I've had some great interactions with the founder of it as well, Aurelian. And so, but when it comes to creating your business, whether it's Systemi or if it's Go High Level, you definitely should have your own account. I'm not sure if maybe you're on Go High Level, but how about Kit? I'm going to be honest, BC English, I'm not a fan, but I'll get to that in a moment. So Go High Level has a lot of resellers, right? So there are quite a few people who have a Go High Level account, and then they're on something called the SaaS plan. So what they do is they pay like $500 a month, and then they can resell the software under themselves. They handle the support, and then they also give you a bunch of presumably give you a bunch of templates and extras that don't come with the basic version of High Level. So if that's what you're on, you technically do have access to High Level. You get all the features. You can get all the features that High Level has if you're signed up under someone else's version of it, or if you're inside of someone's agency account. So if you already have that, you don't have to switch. But if you're looking at starting with Go High Level, yes, I would recommend going to them directly. Now, obviously, I'm biased. I have a bunch of bonuses linked up in the description. It includes more live workflow calls like this one, where I can work with you one-on-one to get your business off the ground and get you scaling and automated. And then, of course, we also have some other trainings in there as well. And yes, I do receive a commission as a way to support all this. For me, it's really awesome because I can just say, use the software, and then I'm supported financially, so I can do all this stuff for you essentially as part of the package. But when it comes to looking for High Level, obviously there are other people, there are other affiliates with other offers. So I'm not going to pretend like I'm the only one. I do think we have the best when it comes to creating digital products as a content creator or solopreneur, not necessarily reselling it or being an agency. But you do want to sign up directly with High Level. So you do want to have your own High Level account. That's my personal opinion. I know there are a lot of people who are reselling and they're offering, discounted versions of it. And that's all well and good. Those are agencies, those are other content creators. So I'm not going to bash them for doing that because they do provide extra value. But me personally, I think you should directly go high level and purchase directly. But again, you can tell that I'm biased because I do have a financial incentive to say go to high level directly as opposed to another reseller of high level. So Angelica, let me know if that answered your question, and then if you feel like wow you're super biased and not helpful, you can go ahead and let me know that too. And so we have another question here. Looking forward to it tomorrow. Yes, awesome, awesome. For the sales page. And then BC English asked, how about Kit? So I used Kit when it was called ConvertKit. I think I left ConvertKit in 2021, 2020 or 2021. Um, Awesome, Angelica. And if you do decide to check out the free trial, you can message me as soon as you get access to the group, and I can answer any and all of your questions. We're going to have some more live streams in there as well, where we go even deeper, where I can just build the whole thing alongside you. It's much more fun on Google Meet because then we can like share screen and between each other. But when it comes to the Kit question, so BC English asked about Kit and ConvertKit. The I used it I used it for about 2 or 3 years, and I realized since they rebranded, they've added a lot of features, but I just don't think there's enough features there to warrant it to say that it's better or worth it over something like Go High Level, and even, and especially Systemi. So I'll say those two since we talked about both those softwares, but especially when you look at the so there's two aspects to it. Number one is the cost. What you get for $100 with Go High Level is absolutely insane. And with the exception of collecting testimonials, you have everything that you need for running a digital product business, an e-com business, and coaching and consulting, all wrapped into one. You can do all your income streams on Go High Level. You can't do that with Kit. Kit does not have lead pipelines. They do not have the ability to have contracts. And when it comes to actual membership sites, last I checked, they don't have communities. They don't have online course database. And when it comes to email automation, Go High Level and ConvertKit are on the same level. If anything, Go High Level is more advanced because they have more features. But in terms of if you're looking at just the email functions, you're not going, if you go High Level for your email automation, you're not going to miss anything from Kit. But if you're using Kit, you'll have all the email automations that you'll need for the businesses that we're talking about. But you're still going to have to go and purchase other softwares for like scheduling your social media posts or creating your sales pages and your upsell pages. I've been quite disappointed with the page building ability of Kit. I don't really understand why they haven't upgraded because I think they have the budget to. I really think they could. And honestly, even in 2020, Kit was pretty close to, I think, being just as good as like let's say a MailerLite or a Systemi for selling digital products. But the basic things like not even being able to install tracking codes on the landing pages, when you're running paid. Um, so so yeah, I would not switch. I would not recommend it. I think I really like their content. I enjoyed using their software at the time, but I will never forget being on a call with my business partner at the time. We had spent a good 90 minutes building this automation, and he clicked something on the page. To this day, I have no idea what he clicked. The entire thing vanished. And we just sat there and we went, what just happened? And I'm talking about ConvertKit, by the way. And I remember sitting there going, what, dude, what did you do? He's like, I don't know. My mouse is over here. And it was just gone. So that I realize that's anecdotal. That's kind of like a fluke accident. But the two of us sitting there, like, our email automation just disappeared. There's no trash, there's no undo. It was just completely gone. We moved the next week. We moved. We were just like, I don't know what happened. I don't know where it went. We hit save so many times, it disappeared. It happened once, and it's just one of those things like we can't afford to have this happen again, especially if we're doing a client. We had some pretty big clients at the time. Like we would have been screwed if that had been a client. So all that to say, I think when you look at the price comparison of Kit and then you look at the features of Go High Level, it just doesn't make sense. Now, I will say that Go High Level, there's a little bit of confusion because when it comes to, and by the way, if you guys have more questions, I'm just answering Q&A. It's just open Q&A right now. So drop them in the comments. I will reply to every single one live. I'm plugged in. My laptop's actually charging. So thank God the port is working, so I can keep going. But the only asterisk with Go High Level that I think trips a lot of people up is you do have to pay to send emails. So when you're talking about something like Kit or MailerLite or Systemi, even I think Kajabi's the same way. They have this kind of monthly price, and then that includes a certain amount of contacts or emails. The reason Go High Level doesn't have any limits on contacts is because instead of charging you for the number of contacts you have, they partner with another software company called Mailgun, and it's all set up. You don't have to like connect SendGrid or something. Um, where that provider actually physically sends the emails. So you're going to pay about $25 a month for that. And then you'll pay more if you have a larger list. Like I think I would wind up paying 80 something just because we have like 15 or 20,000 subs, but that's a lot of emails. So the advantage is your sending costs for email becomes variable. So you get this low price at 97, and then you only pay more depending upon how many emails you send. So if you have, like, I have an email list of like 20,000. MailerLite was charging me over $200 a month for 7,000 of those people weren't opening the emails. We just needed them for like customer support purposes. And I'm like, we don't send emails to them, but we're being charged because we have a list of, 22,000. And so that is something that I think trips people up with the high level pricing. They look at it 97. That does not include all of the text messaging and email sends. You pay when you send an email or when you send a text message, because that actually does cost money to do. So the advantage is you get the platform at $100 a month, and then you only pay when you actually send emails. And so that would be the only thing to look at if you're comparing. And so I think I went way longer than you needed to, BC English on that. But no, I don't have Kit. I just hear about it. I use Systemi. Okay, I think pretty much every time I send an email, I think pretty much everyone in our community is currently using Systemi, which makes sense. I've been promoting them for a long time, and they're a great solution. So when it comes to yes, I would not leave Systemi for Kit, right? So Systemi is a great way to go. So then we have another question from Angelica. I prefer Go High Level, just can't afford it yet. Okay, well, yeah, I do understand that. So if you're on the free version of Systemi, I guess that's a good place to start. I will say in terms of pricing, I can completely relate to and understand being in that position. I remember the first time I had to cancel Samcart because they wanted like $600 a year or something, and I just didn't have it at the time. My business was failing. So if you're looking to save up, I would definitely say save up. There are some annual discounts as well. So even if you want to just start the 30-day free trial, you can jump in there. I can answer your questions and help you build some stuff and maybe get some revenue going. There are some discounts if you like purchase for the first 3. I think I'm allowed to tell you this. There are some discounts if you purchase annually, and then of course if you during your trial, if you upgrade, you can get 3 months for like 30, upwards of 30% off or something like that. But again, I'm not gonna be one of those those jerks who says like, oh, just put it on a credit card. You're gonna make it back in 6 months anyway. Like that's a pretty dumb thing to do when you're just getting started. And so uh, I I do empathize with that. And all I will say is please keep joining the live streams and keep asking questions. If you're on the free version of Systemi, then do what you can with those limits. You're going to hit those limits pretty fast, but do what you can and just try and save up for high level. I will say don't there is a trap to fall into where you try and start looking for a bunch of free solutions and duct taping them together. So I will say, and I say this as someone who went through that, um, and I'm trying to be as delicate as possible here. And I recognize I'm not telling you to put something on a credit card when it's not financially viable. I will say though, don't waste your time or spin your wheels trying to duct tape a bunch of free stuff together. So if you're already on Systemi, you have your one or two free funnels. Um, we'll join here live. And in week number 3, we're going to go through something called the newsletter funnel. You can set that up on your free version of Systemi, and you can actually start growing your email list, sending emails, sending some affiliate offers, and then just focus on content creation and making offers to your growing email list. So if that's the financial situation you're in, focus on that. Don't get distracted trying to find another software solution that's going to be cheaper so you can save like $30 a month. You will regret it in the long run. So that's my way of saying wherever you are now, if you're trying to, if go high level isn't financially viable, then just work until it is. But don't go duct taping some other things together. Don't get sucked into cheaper softwares that are just going to be a pain to switch in the future. I can tell you from personal experience, I have products across 4 different platforms right now. Every time I send an email, I have to log into 2 different providers, and having bouncing back and forth between stuff is just not fun. It really kills your momentum and hurts your growth. And so, if you're on Systemi and you can't afford to upgrade to high level, okay, then just stay there and focus on your business. Trying to save a couple bucks here or there on a not as great solution, in my opinion, is definitely not the way to go. Just spend that time creating content. Spend that time uh, building your relationship with your email list, even if it's only 50 people. And then, of course, creating offers like we'll continue to talk about in this stream. So, um, hopefully that answers your question. I really genuinely want to be helpful, even if go high level isn't in the cards right now. And when you're finally ready, our we're just going to keep adding to the bonuses and the community and the resources we have available to you guys. So please go ahead, let me know in the comments if anyone else has any questions. I think we covered quite a bit. We well, even with the 30 minutes of trying to get the live stream to work. So we will do this again tomorrow. I realize it's Friday night, so probably gonna have a lot less people showing up, but that's okay. Or no, it's Thursday. What am I thinking? I've got my it's anyway, we're going to be going live like this at this time, or maybe I might start doing it an hour earlier. I realize East Coast time it's 10 p.m., so that's a little late. So we might bump it up an hour earlier. But then I look at it and I go, okay, well, people on the West Coast now it's like 6 o'clock for them. And that might be a little early. You're still trying to get home from work or dinner or helping kids with homework or whatever. So we'll see how that goes. If you have any preferences in terms of times, doing it 10 p.m. Eastern versus 9 p.m. Eastern, or 7 p.m. Pacific versus 6 p.m. Pacific, go ahead and drop those in the comment below this video, and maybe we'll change. But I'm essentially just rambling here because I'm seeing if anyone else has any questions. I see we have a couple people on. So if there are no more questions, I'll go ahead and end it there. I want to say thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for asking questions and giving me feedback. Even if it's not directly related to what we're talking about for the day, it really makes this a whole lot more fun. And I enjoy this a whole lot more than just making the pre-recorded YouTube videos because I actually get to talk to someone. Well, relatively. You can tell I'm just in a room sitting by myself. Um, so thank you so much, Angelica, for joining. Thank you, BC English, and thank you, Vadim. Um, thank you. I'm in Central Time Zone, so the time is good for me. Awesome, BC English. Yeah, we're probably going to stick with it. I know it kind of stinks for the East Coast, but it's early for the rest of us. And so, Angelica, oh, okay, you're in the Philippines. I'm over in QC right now. So, thank you so much for joining me. We'll see you tomorrow live, where we are going to be writing we're going to write a sales page. We're going to write a sales page for some offers. So bring your questions and I will see you then. But until then, thank you so much again. I can't say enough how awesome it is to be able to, hop on YouTube live and build things with you guys. And looking forward to doing a whole lot more of these. We got the whole month of August. So let's go keep building the business you love.